And a super good morning to you from just outside the Casita Papel Cafe, which, as you can see, is closed at this time of the morning because it's 25 past 8. Anyway, the main reason why I'm here is that I need to stop. Let me see if I can get it into my background at the fountain that you can see just round about there to fill up in water so that I can continue with the rest of my morning bike ride. But what I was thinking about is I've given you lots of content about the number of words that I'm writing in a day, plus the workouts either on the bike or running that I'm doing in a day. But that all needs to be fueled somehow. So why don't we make today's video about what a content creator in the endurance sports space eats in a day while still being able to push out content. So today is a video all about eating. So with that in mind, let's skip back 2 hours to when I was making breakfast, and then after that I'll catch up with you at the next spot along the way. So yes, so I've had some breakfast, smashed in a half-liter bottle of water. On the bike over there is a 600 ml bottle of water. I smashed that in between there and here, so I'm already on more than a liter of water so far. I just filled that up, and then let's see how far that bottle gets me before I need to fill it up again. But let me get onto the bike before the sun gets too high in the sky and it gets too hot. Speak to you soon. Good morning. So the first meal of the day is going to be, I've got 5 dessert spoons of oatmeal, 2 pinches of salt. That's going to be mixed up with some water, cooked. Once that's finished cooking, then I'm going to be adding a touch of cinnamon to that, a scoop of protein powder, and that's going to be the opening meal of the day. And by the way, the time is 6:15 in the morning. So let me get that cooking, and then I'll catch up with you in just a bit. There we go, the oats has finished cooking, it's busy cooling down, and I forgot to mention that the other thing that I do first thing every morning is half a liter of water down the throat. Make sure I start to get my hydration happening. From first thing in the morning. I must say that I'm not feeling overly in the mood for eating my bowl of oatmeal this morning, but I've got a longer than normal bike ride, so therefore I need to fuel up ahead of time so that I don't get behind on my nutrition while out on the bike. And quick update, the previous video clip that I recorded for you was in the village of Langron, which is about 10 kilometers from my house. Now I'm in the village of Talara. There's not much to show you around here. I've just stopped in a little bit of a park, and the park is just a cement slab. Pardon the truck driving past over there. I'm now about 20 kilometers from home. I've got 2 of my 4 big climbs for the day done. Now it's downhill to the village of Restabel, and from there uphill to the village of Pinhos de Valle. I might be able to I might find something interesting in Restabel to show you. Otherwise I'll give you my next update from the top of the hill just before I drop down into Pinhos. But speak to you in just a moment. Terribly sorry about the wind noise at this point of the ride. As you can see over there, Pinhos de Valle, the bike's parked there. That's big climb number 3 of 4 done for the day, and now to barrel down through Pinhos de Valle, which I won't show you there, number 1 because it's hidden behind the trees, and number 2 because you'll be staring straight into the sun, and that's not such a pleasant thing to do. But anyway, time to barrel down through Pinhos de Valle, and then up the switchback climb back to Lanchron, where we started off this excursion. And a good morning to you. I am back at the fountain of Lanchron, next to Casita Papel over here, and time is just gone 11 o'clock in the morning, so which means that I'm super tempted to stop here for a large coffee as my second meal of the day. However, by the time I eventually get served, because they're fairly busy at the moment, by the time I eventually get served and take my first sip of coffee, it will probably be 11:30. And the thing is, at around about 11:30, 20 to 12, I can be at home brewing my own big pot of coffee. So I think I'll do that instead. I've just filled up all of my water bottles. Now, so between here and home is about a half an hour, and there is a climb on the way back, but I don't call it a real climb because the only climbs I've been counting on this ride so far are the climbs that take me about a half an hour each or longer, and I've done 4 of those already. So anyway, there's a dinky little climb and then a long 5-kilometer downhill to get me home. So let me do that and then go and brew up a nice big pot of coffee at home. Hey there, and a good afternoon to you. Let me just bring you up to speed as far as what is a blogger who blogs about endurance sport eating on a day. Well, right now I've got a cup of coffee here. It's my second cup of coffee since getting back. The time is now 3 minutes to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Eating wise, it was the nice big bowl of oatmeal with protein powder before I headed out on the bike ride. Came back, brewed up a pot of coffee, had my first cup of coffee, and then I was going to be recording this snippet of video a whole lot earlier, but I had to rush out because Thursday is our craft market here in the village, and I wanted to find out whether or not anybody in the craft market was able to help me as far as converting Catalina's prosthetic hip into a titanium ring, and everybody was saying no, no, no. I've subsequently Googled the how-to as far as making a ring from titanium, and yes, it is a fairly tricky process, and one that methodology-wise is vastly different from how most other types of jewelry are fashioned. So from that perspective, I can understand exactly where people are coming from. So I might need to think completely out of the box as far as how to make that happen. Anyway, what I didn't do is I haven't shown you my coffee making process yet. So let me try my best Casey Neistat impression and do a quick montage of my coffee making process when I got back from the bike ride this morning. Have a look at this. Let me know what you think about it. Right, so that was my process of making coffee this morning. Now, to give you a brief outline on the bike ride this morning, and I'll do my best to translate everything so that my American followers can understand all the units of measurement in their own language. To start off with, let me just get onto my word count target to stay on track for my 75,000 words for the month. My word count target for today is 1,239, which should be relatively easy to knock out really quickly. I probably get all of that done. It's what, 3 o'clock at the moment. I probably get all of that done well before 6 o'clock this evening. Anyway, the amount of time that I spent on the bike, obviously there was lots of time when I was out on the bike ride that I stopped to record the clips that you saw at the beginning of this video. But outside of the time that I spent stationary, my moving time, I can say confidently I spent 4 hours, but if you want the really accurate time, it was 4 hours, 0 minutes and 49 seconds. So from my perspective, that's as close as to 4 hours as what is possible. Anyway, the distance that I rode, 55.28 kilometers, or for my American friends, 34 miles. 34 miles in 4 hours sounds really, really slow, and it is. But then if you take into account there was 973 meters of vertical gain, that's 3,192 feet, 3,192 feet of elevation gain. So that obviously has a certain slowing down factor, and that 3,192 feet of elevation gain was over the course of the 4 main climbs, plus a little bit on the little small climbs in between that I don't really take into account much. And with all of that together, calorie burn was 2,728 calories. Or for my American friends, it was 2,728 calories. I'm just pulling your leg. American calories and European calories just happen to be one and the same thing. Anyway, but with that in mind, let me get stuck into some work. I've got the 1,239 words that I need to get through. Enjoy the last of my coffee, and there's another little bit of food that I'll be doing a little bit later. I've got some protein recovery drink that I've got sitting in the deep freeze at the moment to chill itself down a little bit for me to be able to enjoy. So that's what I'm going to have coming up probably in about another half an hour or so. Hey there, 4:15 in the afternoon. Let me give you a quick look at what will be my lunch for this afternoon. I've got pasta for a pasta bowl cooking up over there. My vegetable and lentil mix is over there. When I was cooking that as part of my food prep for the week, it was the vegetables I cooked in there, and in this smaller pot over here I cooked the lentils. But now that we're more than halfway through the week, what happened is that the lentil pot is now empty because there was enough space in the one pot, so I emptied the lentils, which was spiced lentils, into the spicy veg, mixed them together, and which means that it makes it super easy. So which means that it's going to be pasta bowl, 4 heaped dessert spoons of my lentil and vegetable mix. That is then on top of that, I'm going to sprinkle some levadura de cerveza, which is brewer's yeast. In with the vegetables is going to be going some tomato frita, which is a tomato concentrate, which is essentially tomatoes, olive oil, salt, onion, garlic. And then from a friend of mine, I have this stunning lemon and mustard seed chutney. So a dessert spoon of that goes on top of the whole pasta bowl to mix that together, just to lift the flavor a little bit. And the lemon mustard seed combination with the spicy vegetables and lentils makes a superb kind of combination. So that's what is going to be lunch for today. My guesstimation is that this pasta bowl with the lentil vegetable mix and the chutney tomato frita will probably be in the ballpark of about 1,000 to 1,200 calorie meal. Anyway, the alarm's probably going to go off within the next couple of seconds to tell me that my pasta bowl is finished cooking. So let me give that a stir so that it doesn't all stick together into one big lump. Hey, good evening. It's coming up for 6 o'clock in the evening, and I need to update you on the eating front. Yes, obviously, not that long ago I had the pasta bowl, which obviously has helped elevate my calorie intake. What I've got coming up now, well, what I can tell you is on my very tiny little list that I've got here, is that my word count for today is up at 1,456. Not massive as yet, but I've already passed the 1,239 word count target. Now coming up next is something that I sort of call my pudding. Normally I have some of this stuff shortly after my ride finishes to help and aid recovery, but because I needed to get up to the market to try and find out if anybody in the market does jewelry made from titanium, there wasn't time to get this in, so I'm going to be using this as a late post-lunch dessert and early supper all rolled into one. And it's a recovery drink that includes omega-3s, protein powder, L-arginine, whichever that means, and creatine monohydrate in there as well. As far as the macros, the general macros of this are concerned, I have to put on my glasses for this one to be able to read the tiny writing. Each serving is 50 grams of the recovery drink powder per serving. Each serving is 23 grams of protein and 22 grams of carbohydrates. So out of the 50 grams, 45 grams is the protein carbohydrate split, with 23 grams going to protein and 22 grams going to carbohydrates. So it's a reasonably good recovery drink, this one. What I normally do is where they suggest mixing up basically your 50 grams serving with about half a liter of water. I take a 50 gram serving and mix it up with a cup of water, so half the water, to make it now really nice and thick and nice thick thing to drink. And earlier on, what I did was I mixed up 3 servings of this, so the equivalent of 3 cups. So triple servings, that's going to be giving me 23, so 23 is 46, 69 grams of protein and 66 grams of carbohydrate in the recovery drink. So that's going to be my sort of dessert, early supper type of thing put together, and that's what I'm going to be having now while doing the next batch of content creation and putting up my word count a little bit further. So just so that you know, so food intake wise today was that nice big bowl of oatmeal this morning, really early before the bike ride, the 2 cups of coffee, the nice big pasta bowl with the vegetables and lentils, and that delicious lemon and mustard seed chutney that was over the top of it, together with some brewer's yeast. And now it's going to be 3 servings of the recovery drink as my dessert. I'll catch up with you a little bit later as far as the content production is concerned, as well as where my evening eating is going to be going, but I've got a sneaky feeling that this will probably be the last food intake and beyond that through the evening is just going to be making sure that I'm well hydrated, so that when I wake up tomorrow morning I'm feeling really, really well hydrated. And you might think that the food intake is looking really skimpy, but that's because my food intake during the course of the day, of today, is taking into account the kind of workout that I've got planned for tomorrow, and seeing that I'm needing to be back at the court relating to Catalina's death certificate situation at 9 o'clock in the morning. There isn't exactly time for a really early morning bike ride, shower, change, everything like that. So it'll probably be later on during the course of the day, just a short 20-kilometer ride just to go and fill up on my water supply. Anyway, that's where we are at the moment. I'm really looking forward to my dessert, and I'll catch up with you just a little bit later on where the content production is, as well as what other food intake or what other drinks intake. And when I say drinks between inverted commas, because there definitely won't be any alcohol involved. I've hardly touched alcohol at all since Catalina passed away. Hey, good evening to you. It's coming up for 8:45, and since my protein recovery drinks, I haven't felt the need for any more food whatsoever. So food intake that's going to be a wrap for the day. I'm guessing, if I have to have a vague guess at a total calorie count, I probably came in at somewhere in the ballpark of maybe around about 2,000 calories for the day, somewhere around about there. But anyway, certainly enough for me. While I'm going to be editing this video, oh, the sweat is pouring down off me. While I'm editing this video, I will be pouring myself something, 0 alcohol. But what I will be pouring myself is, I've got a sugar-free, 0 sugar, sort of a lemon cordial type of thing, and mix that with a little bit of tonic water and sparkling water, which gives just a nice mix of sour and bitter, and is a good thirst quencher late in the evening while working on the video edit. I'm going to call it a day on the word count productivity side. 1,643 words done, which is a good 400 words over the 1,239 that the target was for the day. So which means that the target for tomorrow will be even less, but that's beside the point. But right now I need to get stuck into editing this video, which will be a lengthy edit, which by now you would have probably noticed, because of how many different clips and how many different cuts there are involved as far as this video is concerned. But with that being said, I'm going to try and get the video finished as early as I possibly can, because I've got a super early morning tomorrow morning with an appointment at the courthouse at 9:30. So there won't be any early bike ride, but I definitely will be doing something in the exercise line. I just don't know what that's going to be as yet. But with that being said, have a super evening, have a super Friday. Let's finish out the week as strong as we possibly can and crank out the content. Speak to you soon. Cheers.